The United States is another step closer to having a third COVID-19 vaccine. The FDA will meet tomorrow to discuss the emergency use authorization for the Johnson & Johnson one-dose vaccine. Meanwhile, a new coronavirus variant spreading rapidly in New York City. Researchers are worried that this mutation may actually weaken the effectiveness of vaccines. So joining us this morning to discuss is immunotherapy scientist Dr. Nissola. Dr. Nissola, thanks so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, because the FDA is probably going to give its approval. 3 to 4 million doses, they say, could be readily available for the U.S. next week. But in our own meeting yesterday, lots of talk about the effectiveness of it, and people being like, well, I'm not going to get that. It's not as effective as Moderna and Pfizer. How do they compare, and should that matter?
Well, first, it shouldn't. Number one, both the vaccines that we have available in the U.S. today elicit good immunity response, elicit good T-cell response. And we are expecting the same for J&J's vaccine, should the FDA grant the emergency use authorization. Now, what's important is that these vaccines prevent the severity of the disease and prevent hospitalizations, and that's what we're looking for. We are looking for people to not require hospitalization and to stop the tremendous amount of deaths that we've been seeing. So no, it shouldn't matter which vaccine you should get. If you're able to get one shot into your arm, that's the one for you.
Yeah. Get it if you can, no matter which one it is. Which actually brings us to this new variant that's sparking alarm in New York and I think California too. Now, they say the vaccines are not as effective against these variants. So how concerned do we need to be about this?
So we need to be concerned, and we need to start surveilling. Genomic surveillance is key right now, especially for us to understand if we're going to need booster shots or perhaps 3 shots of Pfizer's and Moderna's vaccine. Likely, these new variants will continue to emerge as long as we have outbreaks and as long as the community spread it still continues. So the more people we get immunized against this virus, the more likely we will not be seeing more variants. But if the vaccine rollout continues to be slow, I'm afraid that these variants will start to create a little bit more damage.
Because the variants only happen, the virus can only mutate if it replicates, which goes back to that vaccine. So if we get the vaccines, no matter which one, that's what's the most important, right?
That's correct. You're 100% right.
All right, let's talk about the UK strain, because obviously there was a lot of talk about that when that emerged. Is that now the dominant strain here in the United States? I mean, that is what they predicted, correct?
Yeah, well, what we're going to be seeing likely is that the strongest strain will make itself more prevalent because it spreads faster. And in that sense, I believe that South Africa's variant will reach a global level of predominance, being the one that will be affecting most countries. So it's very hard to predict what's going to happen and what kind of variants we'll be seeing. But as of today, the variant that is a little bit more concerning to me is the South African variant because it spread faster.
Interesting. Yeah, I brought up the UK one because that was just detected for the first time here in Central Virginia. You referenced the boosters. I know Moderna already has presented to NIH a booster for their vaccine. Where do we stand with that? And is that something that we're really going to see that we need?
That's right. So drug makers that develop vaccines on the mRNA technology are very confident that they can provide these booster shots and provide the third shot that will be tailor-made to these new variants. So I'm not concerned that we will be taking too long to develop these new booster shots for the new variants, but we will likely need them. But perhaps not all of us. I think it will be a more surgical approach to address specific mutations to target specific variants.
Well, Dr. Nissola, we sure appreciate you helping clear everything up for us, because it's always just seems like lots of new information coming all the time.
Thanks for having me.
All right.